Okay, so this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of every last thing I've changed. And we're just going to go in alphabetical order on this because it's easier to keep track that way. And then at the end, we'll go over, we'll view every last thing I changed to make sure I got everything. We're first going to start with the perks. And I'm actually just going to literally go down each one of these, open them up, and show the changes that I made. It'll take a long time, but I'll make sure to timestamp every video or every part of the video. So for some of these I can skip over though, because some of them are the same changes across all perk trees. So alteration, the adapt level perk, it reduces adept level spells by a third. So instead of it reducing their magic cost by half, it reduces it down to 1/3. And this might be a bit too strong, considering that it still requires the same skill level. Didn't change that. I might reduce this down to 40% rather than 33%, maybe 45, I don't know. Or maybe I'll just leave it at vanilla 1/2. But the reason why I did that is because, I don't know, some master level perks, like this one, it reduces it by 70% rather than by 66%. So instead of it costing 33% of the value, it's 30% of its original value. And that's the same across the board. So if you look at this right here, same thing, 33% for all of these, and that's the same for conjuration all the way through. If I've made a misstep and it's not actually, I might have made a mistake, but considering I made a change to these, I'm pretty sure they're all consistent, and if not, you can tell me. For Animage, right, so it works on higher level. I changed the magnitude. I forgot what vanilla is for Animage. I think it was something pretty low. It was like 8, like level 8 or something like that. And it only adds 8 levels. So the way it works is it adds whatever value you put here onto what originally the spell could do. So I thought only 8 levels. I mean, animals don't really get super high level, I don't think, in late game. Maybe if you got a mod though. So I thought, add 20 onto there. And it's only a level 20. It only requires skill level 20. So this may be a bit too strong, but it's only animals. So, but that does include enemies like Sabertooth, cats and bears and things like that. So it might be too strong, especially only for level 20. I might whittle that down later on in the later updates. This one's for sphere spells. And yeah, so cumulative means that Kindred Mage and Animage also add on to this. Yeah, higher level opponents. This is sphere spells. This is just in general. So on animals, it will also add a further 15. Might be way too strong, especially it's only level 50 perk, but we'll see. I'm probably going to definitely bump down Animage. Because, I mean, that means every bear will you'll have 35 extra levels of for sphere spells to work on that, and I think that might be a bit too strong, but I don't know. Atromancy, right. So this one, in base game, it was double duration for Conjured Atronachs. This one, I buffed it up to quadruple, but I think it requires 5 more experience level. So I think it was 60 in the base game, if I remember correctly. But now it's 65. But I just wanted to balance it somewhat higher. Atronach alteration skill tree. I forgot what the base value for this. It was either 25% or 30%, something like that. But I think it may have been 30%. But I buffed that to 45, and I can't remember if I changed the level requirement. But you can compare this to you can go to the wiki and see what it requires and compare it if you want. If I were to do that right now for each one of these perks, it would take way too long to make the video, and I want to try and make this kind of quick. For Augmented Flames and Frost and Shock, I'm only going to go through the flame section because they're mirrored across all of them, of course. So Augmented Flames, I did make a change. I think this, yeah. So instead of it doing 25% more damage, I made it do 33%, buffed it a bit, and then I required, I think it, instead of it requiring 25 skill, I buffed it to 30. I think that was what it was. I'm not sure if I did touch that or not. I may not have, actually, because this one requires 60 skill, and this one's still at 60. But then I buffed this to 66%, I do believe. Is that a 65? No, okay. It's a 66. All right. So yeah, there's that. I just felt like in the base game, it just wasn't, spells in general weren't that strong. And I wanted to reward the player for specialization, but I wanted to do more so than just 2 perks. 2 perks and you're doing way more damage. And in total, I mean, you're doing an extra 16% more damage than vanilla. But I wanted to reward the player for specialization, so I created 2 new perks. They just right in the exact same spot. They're just another stack. And this one buffs it by a further 34% to 100% more damage for fire spells. And this one requires up to 90. So you kind of have to be up there. And I just wanted to allow the ability to, specialize yourself in a certain field of magic. The reason why this doesn't say 2, this value isn't 2, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but when I tested this value at 2%, it wouldn't raise the fire spells to 100%. So it was almost acting multiplicative with this perk. So this one would, raise it to 66% more. But instead of this raising it to another 34%, it would double the previous 66% value. So you'd be at 33% more damage here, and then 66% more here. And then for some reason, that new value, whatever it may be, would get doubled. And then when I tried doing this one, it would further increase it by, the 0.2 that I wanted to do. So I wanted this to be 2.2, but I don't know why. So I had to do the math to make sure that it stays true to the description of doing 100% more damage of base. For some reason, this perk would not modify the base game's spell value. It would modify the new value that Augmented Flame 60 had created. And it might have been some issue due to, since this perk isn't vanilla, so the game wasn't really applying this to the vanilla game spells. I don't know. I don't know why. I just duplicated the Augmented Flame 60, and that's all I did. For the new perk, Bound Chaos, this one is supposed to be for bound weapons whenever you're kind of late game. I'm talking like level 50 or higher is what I wanted. So that's why it seems to be a bit beefy. We'll go over the specific detailed effects later. It's in the, I think, the magic effects section right here. And I can show you what it does. But yeah, it imbues bound weapons with all 3 elements, frost, fire, and shock, doing for about 1 second, and they do 25 damage a second. So I think there is damage on contact, though. So there's that. I think there is damage on contact with these enchantments, but so there's that. And then I think hopefully this will work. Sometimes this doesn't work. The perk tree thing doesn't work. There we go. All right, so now you can see the perk tree of the conjuration skill tree. So basically Bound Chaos is right there. And it requires 90. I didn't want it to be insanely late game. Like theoretically you could get level 100 conjuration by level 20 or level 17, whatever it is. And that's not too terribly late game. And in that case, in that situation, if you did grind conjuration like that, yeah, these bound weapons would be extremely strong, unless you're playing on legendary. And that's what I wanted. I wanted bound weapons to be viable late game and on legendary. And I haven't done any testing on legendary yet. Haven't done any testing like that on higher level enemies just yet. Don't have a whole lot of time. And this mod did take me some time to do. It's very tedious. Dark Souls. So this one, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to, if this will truly work. It adds 400 points more health to reanimated undead. Before it was just 100. And it says that it should work, right? See, there it is. Perk Dark Souls Zombie bonus. If you go to there, this is what I changed in order to change it from 100 to 400. And this data right here gets used by the Raise Zombie spell, but it doesn't get used by any other spell. And as a matter of fact, this bonus right here, there's a respective bonus for Revenant, for Reanimate Corpse, and Dead Thrall. And it's called Perk Dark Souls Dead Thrall bonus. But the values were never 100. The only one that was 100 was Zombie. And those other bonuses for Revenant and Dead Thrall weren't getting used anywhere. I mean, you can see right here, you can check the use info where Dark Souls is getting used. And right there, see, it's getting used by Revenant effect, right? But this one's see, Dread Zombie right there, it's getting used. But Dread Zombie isn't getting used anywhere. Reanimate, that one's not getting used anywhere. Revenant, not getting used anywhere. Dead Thrall, the only one that's getting used is this one. And that's by the Raise Zombie spell, I believe. So, not sure why. So this perk may work for Raise Zombie spell only, or it may work for all of them. And I don't know. You might have to download a mod where you can see the health percentage of your reanimated, conjures, reanimated undead. For this one, right, so in base game, Dragonhide, it reduces incoming damage by 80%, so I buffed it to 85. I was going to change this value to something higher, like 100 or something like that, but I didn't want to make this spell too broken. I mean, it is a master level spell, and it requires a bit of work to get, but in the base game, it sets your damage threshold to 0, no matter what armor you're wearing, and then it buffs your resistance to incoming damage by 80%. So I'm going to change that to 85. Might make it a bit more viable. Who knows? I wanted to make being a battle mage where you can actually take incoming physical damage, arrows, and other spells actually useful. I wanted to make mages just as viable as warrior classes. Combining alchemy and enchanting and smithing, you can make your weapons do like 500 damage a hit, and that's just a Dragonbone sword. And you can have a 600 damage threshold with, wearing Daedric or Dragonbone. And with enchantments, you can buff your health to an insane level. And sure, you can do that you can make your own set of armor that has enchantments that help you with, being a mage. But I wanted to be able to wear robes. I wanted to look the part while also still being able to do it as well. Kind of a little bit of fashion, a little bit. It was a fashion problem mostly, but this one, Conjured Action, is much more powerful. So Elemental Potency, the way it works is there's a different variant of every type of Atronach. So I guess I accidentally skipped it. So this is what that perk changes. So there's the regular Flame Atronach, then there's the potent version required by the perk, and then there's the Thrall. And then there's the potency and then there's the potent version of the Thrall. I did change the Thralls of, I didn't change the Storm Thrall, I changed the Frost Thrall, and I didn't change the Flame Thrall though. I changed the potent variant though. So this one, it says I changed it. This is just the regular old Flame Atronach. It says I changed it, but I actually didn't. So all these values are locked, but because I opened this up and clicked OK, it counts it as a change. So nothing changed there. For the potent variant of the Flame Atronach, though, I raised its level. I think it wasn't that high. I think it changed it from level, I think maybe up to 16 or something like that. So I buffed it to 20. You can look up what the base value is for it. And then for the Flame Thrall, I buffed that, I think, up to 40 or 60. It's a master level spell. Yeah, 60. It's a master level spell. I just thought it was wrong to make you spend all that money on the spell, have it cost a lot of magicka to cast the spell, and you get like a level, 30 Thrall. And that's what it was base game. The Flame Thrall, even with potent, I think was only level 30 or 40. So I buffed that up a bit. For the Storm Thrall potent variant and for Dremor Lord, they're both level 75, I think, is what I buffed them up to. I made some other changes. So some of these have an offset. Some in the base game, some of them have a negative offset to reduce their total magicka or health or stamina. So I did tweak some of these values as well. I can't quite remember, but they might be too strong. So I did want them to be a higher level, though, especially if you got these match level. You're going to be looking at end game, and you could probably cast these spells as a level 50, and it might be a bit broken to have a level 70 thrall. But yeah, see, you can see, oh, the levels are displayed for me right here. It's not too bad. So yeah, for these are level 75, 49 for the Storm, the potent variant of the Storm Atronach, 72 for the Frost Thrall, the potent variant, close to 75. I do really like the Frost Atronach. It's one of my favorite. For the Frost Thrall, though, just as is, it's level 30. I forgot what I changed on this. I think I maybe have changed the offsets on this. I think maybe. And I don't know how I feel about the Frost Thrall being level 30, but the potent variant of the regular Atronach being 48. I think my reasoning for that might have been just because this one's temporary and only lasts for 4 minutes, while this one lasts forever. And if you want the potent variant, all it is a perk. So if you can cast this one, then you can cast that one, as long as you got the spell. So yeah, that's pretty much most of the changes with regards to that perk and all of this in here. So I just changed the levels mostly on this, and you can see the levels right there. You can compare it to base game. And then there are some minor changes with other offsets. And where was that? Was that Elemental Potency? I think that's what it was. Hypnotic Gaze. This is one of those. Yeah. So for the Fear and for the Calm spells and the Courage spells, I think universally I changed the value to add 15 levels for this. It might be a bit much. Kindred Mage, right? All illusion spells work on higher level people. And I don't know if this is cumulative with the other ones. They might be. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. It may or may not. It seems like if it is, they'll, include it into the description. If it is and it's way too strong, let me know. I don't have a whole lot of time to play around and test all these a whole lot anymore. Same thing. Oh, that's just Kindred Mage. I opened that again. My bad. Mage Armor. So the base game I left the same. So regular old Mage Armor, I left it as 2 times strong. 2 times as strong. But for this one, I wanted to make, I wanted to actually make Stone Flesh, Iron Flesh, Ebony Flesh, all those actually viable as a real way to protect yourself. And I wanted to reward you for investing into those perks and into that play style. So you can't see the changes readily, but yeah, it does. So when you pick this one, whenever you cast those spells, it really will be 3 times the protection. And for this one, it's 4 times as much. But I did require the level to be higher. So instead of 70, it's 90. But if you think about it, it's more of a buff. So Mage Armor, in order for vanilla to get to 3 times as much, you have to have 70 into Alteration. It only requires 60 now. But if you want it to be even stronger than that, you have to be pretty well versed in Alteration. I might even buff it to require 100, skill, and then for the 50 variant required to require 70. More in line to vanilla. This one, yeah. I think the base game was 10%, and then for each rank after that added a further 10%. But I bust out to 15. I think it was 20. Yeah, 25, and then 40 for this final one. Yeah, 40%. It might be way too strong, especially in conjunction with Atronach perk. It may be way too strong. But we'll see. I think I did also buff the level requirement. Yeah, so base game requires 70. Buffed out to 75. For 55, this one's still 30. For 50, it's still 50. All right. Yeah, well, I'm not sure what this capped out as, this perk. I think it capped out at 30% base game, but it might have been 25%. That's maybe why I left the skill level the same. Mystic Binding. I think I required the level to be higher. So it was base game 25, now it's 30. Mostly because some of the, and I'll go over it later, the Mystic bound weapons, I did tweak their damage to either be on par with Daedric. I think I made the bow to be 1 point lower. So instead of being 25 base damage, it's 24. I don't know why I did that. My OCD is kind of, a little bit irritated by that, so I might change that in a later update. Necromage. All spells are more effective against the undead. I think this was 1.25 and this was 1.5. So I made the duration last 25% longer, and then I made the magnitude 25% more. So they're a higher level on that. And I think this also affects your raise. So if you wanted to raise a zombie or do dead thrall, this will also buff it by a further 25%. And so now it may make it to where dead thrall it can raise anything, and it might be a bit too strong, but I feel like for a master level, summoning perk, it's kind of, I feel like it needs to be stronger. So that's why I did that. Necromancy. This one just overall, greater duration. I think, yeah, conjuration skill tree. I think I did buff this requirement. I think it was 60, and I buffed it to 65. But now, your reanimate undead stay alive for just as long as your Atronachs do. Oblivion Binding. I think maybe I raised the level on this. Because overall, though, like, I didn't change anything base game on this. So, yeah, for Oblivion Binding and Soul Stealer, I didn't change anything on that for base game. Rage, yeah, this one's for Frenzy spells. So the other ones were Calm and, I think, Courage, and this one's now Frenzy. No, Fear and Calm. Now this one's got Frenzy spells. And, yeah, there's that extra 15 that are just the same. Cumulative with Kindred Mage and Animage. Okay, so, yeah, Kindred Mage, I made add 25 levels. This one will add 15. So, the perk Frenzy, I think, works on level 14 enemies. Humanoid enemies, I think it is. Or just all opponents in general. So this one will buff it to, an extra 25, so that'll be, 49, and then this one's an extra 15. And then if you dual cast it, it gets up there almost to, like, in the 70s. You can do the math. Because I think dual cast is multiplying the value by 2.2, I think it is. Something like that. What, it costs 2.8, the amount of magicka. For this one, I buffed... So I think I did require the level to be higher. So instead of it being 30, it's 35. Magic regenerates much faster. I think it was 25 base game. And then for the 50 variant, yeah, it's all the way up to the 75. Might be way too broken. It might regenerate way too fast. And that's why I buffed this skill requirement from 50 to 65. With enchantments, maybe you want to wear the, Archmage robes and... you want to look a certain way, well, now this perk allows it. I might add an extra rank to this perk. I don't know. You can see, it doesn't tell you much. Yeah, that's what I changed it to. I can't remember where you can find the data, but we'll go over it for that. This one, healing spells, I think it was 50%. This might be too low. This might be a bit too low for that. I think it was 1.5, but this might need to come up to 30, I'm not sure yet. Yep, same thing right here. Wait a second. Oh, okay. Well, there's a glitch, or not really a glitch, something I overlooked. So this should be 0.3, and this is restoration spells for 70% less magicka. That's what that should be. But I forgot to change that. So if you look at Master Destruction, this one's 0.3. I think if you look at Master Conjuration as well, 0.3. And then Master Alteration is 0.3. I forgot Restoration. And then Illusion, we just saw it, didn't we? 0.33. So I forgot Illusion and Restoration. Well, it's good to know. I'll update that later. I'll post the updated variant after this video, after I make this video. A little embarrassing, but it's a good thing I went through all these. So as of right now, the mod that's out on the Nexus right now, these changes have not been made, but I'll make it here soon. There we go. Restoration, and then also, where is it? It was illusion, wasn't it? Yeah. There we go. Oh, well, I can't just change the text and without changing the value. There we go. Rune Master. This one, I made it to... I didn't change this from base game. So, in base game, it's 5 times as far. I didn't change that at all. But what I did is I added an extra perk. The reason why it says it's changed is because I did want to change it to 7 times further, but then I thought, why not just add an extra perk? So what this is, it's in the exact same location as you would find it. I didn't change the original's skill requirement, but I did change this one's up to 70, and instead of 7 times further, I did 8 times further, in case you want to play with being a mage. Or play with being a rune-styled mage, you know, maybe a stealth one. Soul Stealer, I think I buffed the level. I think I required a higher level for that. Stability... Yeah, so I think this one was like 50% more duration. I changed it to 2 times more and then buffed that there to a higher level, I think. I believe... No, I think I may have left that the same, but that way your Stone Flesh and Ebony Flesh last longer. I think also Dragon Hide wouldn't be included by that, I think. But we'll check. For this one, yeah, so in base game it's 2 Atronachs, buff that to 4, and it just basically adds to the value of the base game. So, and then for this one, rewards recharge your magicka when hit with spells. I think base game was only 25%, so I raised it to 40% of spells are absorbed. And I think I buffed the skill requirement from 70 to 75, but I'm not sure. So now, moving on to the weapons section, because this is the only things I changed from the base game. I did make changes to the mystic variants of these bound weapons, as well as some of the base weapons as well. I think the battle axe, though, still is at 17. I think in vanilla it's 17. The bow, I think base game without any perks is 19, I think. Or I think it's 17 as well or something like that. And then the mystic variant is all the way up there to like 24, and I changed this to 19. The Daedric bow, like base game, does 25 points per hit, so in vanilla Skyrim it's up to the 24. I remember seeing somewhere people were talking about how strong the bow is for what it is. It's like really strong early game, so kind of nerfed it. So I'm going to restart this actually. So I'm just going to go through here and click through each one of these and show you the item card, and that's it. Give you a quick look, and so you can see the damage and whatnot. Some of these, it says I changed them, but I in the end didn't. I was thinking about changing these values and buffing all bound weapons, regardless of perks or not, but I decided not to. I didn't want it to be too crazy strong. If they're too weak, and I'm talking like for legendary difficulty, if they're too weak, then I'll go ahead and change these values. As for what the vanilla values of these were, I did forget. I forgot. Uh, I do think, though, that I know for a fact that the Chaos variant that I made is well over the damage by about like 5 points, at least for this one, than a vanilla Daedric Axe. I know it's stronger base damage because you can't smith these weapons. You can't take them to a grindstone and improve them. So that's why. For the bow, I know for a fact I did reduce the base damage of the regular bound bow. I did. Same thing with the mystic bow. And it's because I saw somewhere someone said that it was too powerful early game. Y'all may not like that. I may not like that as I play with it. I may want to bump this damage back up to vanilla. I don't know why I did that. I know this one, I think the base Daedric bow does 25 points of damage, I think. And the Chaos variant does 24, which I'm not sure why I nerfed that, but I did. At least from what I can remember, I did. I buffed this. Okay, this one's still the same. Yeah, base game bound a sword with no perks does 9 damage. With perks, I took this up to 14, and in the base game, a Daedric sword does 14 damage per hit. So that one's still normal. Like, and this one, of course, it does more than a regular Daedric sword. So that's still normal. The sword and the battle axe are still kept vanilla. The dagger did get a buff. I think the bound dagger did 6 damage. And the mystic variant, I think, did something like 9 or 8. I don't know. One of the two. So I improved the damage there. Then, of course, my Chaos variant does well over. I don't remember all the values for the Daedric counterparts to these, and I don't remember all the vanilla values. All I know is that the sword was kept vanilla and the battle axe kept vanilla. As for the bow and the balancing on the bow and the dagger may be too strong. The bow may now be too weak. Because even the Chaos variant that I made, which on all of these I made stronger than a regular Daedric weapon. The bow, I think, a regular Daedric bow does 25, and this one only does 24. But late game, that may prove to be difficult, but, you know, I might change that later. I don't know, but we'll see. The next thing we're going to go over is the enchantments. So these bound battle axe enchantment and the bow enchantment, dagger, and sword, it says that they were changed, but they're still kept vanilla. This is how they are in vanilla. All these magnitudes are the same. The duration, all of it is kept the same, completely unchanged. Because if you change these, you'll get into that issue where the bound weapons that use this enchantment, which is the mystic and the regular variants, will turn invisible. Even if you create a copy of them and use this enchantment and then change it for some reason. I don't know why. So I made a copy of these enchantments, and I can show you the difference, right? And the only difference is that they add shock damage, fire damage, and frost damage. And they're all the same. They're all this effect. Frost damage on contact. And it checks to have the perk, Bound Chaos. And then it's got a magnitude of 25 and then duration of 1 second. I think for some reason, fire damage, though, yeah, so I put it at 1 second, but the full duration is 2 seconds, so it lasts a whole extra second longer than the rest of the enchantments. Maybe that's a bad design choice on me. Maybe maybe that's bad. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's too strong to have an extra second of fire damage. I doubt it. Maybe it kind of does screw with my OCD. I want all of them to last the same amount of time, but we'll see. The reason why I did that is because, I don't know, more things in the game I have are more susceptible to fire damage, you know, flesh-based enemies and stuff like that. Didn't change anything there. And the magic effect, okay, so these are these values are what gets activated whenever you cast the spell. So for this one, the only change I made to the Mystic FF self magic effects that I changed was I added these parameters. So when you cast the spell, Bound Battle Axe, right, it'll check to see that if you do not have Bound Chaos and that you do have Mystic Binding. If you do have Mystic Binding and you don't have Bound Chaos, it'll summon the Mystic variant. And I had to put in this parameter right here because if not, it wouldn't cast the spell. And I had to put that change in there because it wouldn't know which one to spawn. And if you look at the Chaos magic effect, it's the same except this one now it says that you do have the perk, and then it's associated with this weapon type, which we just went over, and everything else is pretty much kept the same. Minimum skill requirement, I kept it at 25, same as the Mystic. There's no need to bring this up to 90. If you know the spell, you know the spell. I mean, that's all that really is important. If you got the perk, you got the perk. You know, if you accidentally get a debuff on you and it drops your skill level below 90 and now you can't cast the spell you learned, I don't know. I thought it would be pointless to do that. It's not necessary. So I kept everything the same. So whenever I duplicated these values, I just left that the same. And I just changed what weapon they're associated with and what current conditions. Pretty much all of these follow the same formula. I could go through each one. It takes a while for some reason to open these. So I'm not going to go through each one. I'm just going to show you that, yes, indeed, that the parameters required to summon this is correct, and everything else is pretty much the same. This one, for some reason, 0. The Bound Dagger is a novice level spell, so it's going to be that way. That's why. It's because the Mystic variant only requires a skill level 0. As for the next thing, right, spells. Okay. Let's go through all the spells. This one's going to take the longest, I think, because these do take a second to open. This one, I think the magnitude was 25, buffed it to 35, and then the base magic cost was 1106, so I did not leave it on auto-calculate. I just left the spell cost vanilla. Next, Bound Battle Axe. So for all these bound weapons, I'm not going to go through each one. All I did was I added this condition right here. That's it. Now, I did leave it on auto-calculate on these. So maybe these spells will cost more. The bound weapon spells will cost more than vanilla. You can let me know. You can compare with or without the mod. And if that becomes a problem, I can easily just turn off auto-calculate and release an update. It's no big deal. So I'm not going to go through the rest because it's the same thing. Calm. Buffed the level. I think it was level 9, buffed it to level 11. And I think, yeah, Charm, Master of the Mind, Aggression. I'm not sure what this has to do. You have to have the perk, I guess. Yeah, I think this basically doubles the effectiveness of this spell, I guess. I don't know. You can go to that effect. But I just changed both values. I don't know if it's going to make it way too strong. I don't know. It seems like if you have that perk, it adds another 11 levels that is effective too, which at the time in which I was making changes, I probably didn't realize that, but we'll see. Chain Lightning, I think it did 40 points. Same thing with Fireball, it did 40 points, and then I just buffed it to 60, left everything else the same. Circular Protection, guarantee you I just raised level. I think it was at 25, raised it to 35, or something like that. This is supposed to be like, yeah, it's an expert level perk. I think if you're casting expert level magic, you're going to be into a level range in the 40s, probably. Late 30s, 40s, you know. Want it to be a bit more effective and rewarding for spending all that money and time. Closed Wounds. I think this was 100 values for both of these. And so I buffed it to 130. Dead Thrall. I think base game's level 40, buffed it level 45. And then this I left the same. Oh, and then I did not auto-calculate. and I just left it at a plain 1000. So I changed the spell cost to 1000, which is still less, I think. Oh, I don't even know why I clicked on Bound Dagger. It's another bound weapon. We know the changes made there. Whirlwind Cloak. I think I improved the damage on this. And there's still the other DLC that's not included. It says this one it requires certain masters, and this one factors in, I think, Dragonborn, but it does not factor in Dawnguard. For some reason, I forgot to select it when making this mod, and it's a mistake I made. We'll have to probably release a patch and release an update for all these changes. For whenever I include that other DLC, because I'm still not done with this mod. Buff the level. That's all I did. I think it used to be level 30. And I left this, whatever this cost correlates to level is what I changed it from. This one, all these flash perks, I added, I think, 20 points to the base protection. So it was 100, now it's 120. And then, of course, in order to factor in the change I made to the perk, I have to change all these values from, that's 200% more, 300% more, and then 4 times more protection. Oh, and then I kept the same vanilla cost. Fast healing for this, I think I added an extra 20 points. I used to do 40, made it 60, kept the same cost at 73. Fear, same thing with calm. Buffed both these values and mirrored it. I might take a look, and I think this Master of Mind, I think it's in relation to, I think it does effectively double. Because in the vanilla values for these fear and calm, they were both 9. So when I buffed one, I buffed the other to keep it fair. Yeah, see, was 40, buffed it to 60, just like Chain Lightning. Didn't change anything else. I don't remember I don't know if it was 20 or 30 or what value it was, but whatever this cost correlates to is how much damage it was doing. And you can look up the vanilla damage on Firebolt. Fire Rune, I think this was also another like 20 points increase in damage. I was going to do 60, I think it was 50, buffed it all the way up to 70. We'll see if that's too strong. Firestorm, I don't know what I'm doing with Firestorm. So I buffed all these values and kept the same vanilla cost. So I didn't change anything here, I just buffed these. So this one was 100, this one was 70, and this was, I think, like 65 or something like that, or something like that. And I buffed it all the way from there. That, or it was 65 and that was 25. I don't know. I'll have to open up a blank ESP to check. Buff the damage for sure. I think it was at 8 or 10, and I buffed it to 15. And then this one, I'm not sure if I did change this. So, yeah, like I think I did buff the magnitude here. It might have been 10, and I buffed it to 12. And I was confused, and I was worried to buff this too high since I just changed this Flame Cloak spell, not the damage, and I was curious as to why these were separate entities. I don't know. Flames, this one for sure, I doubled, so from 8 to 16, I know that. Same thing with Frostbite and Sparks, so don't have to go over that. Frenzy, I just buffed the level. And then as I buff this, I buff that. And then as all of these, whenever I change one value, I change these respectively. Don't have to go over Frostbite. Frost Cloak is the same, 15, although I don't know if this is damage or what. I don't know, because I didn't change Frost Cloak damage, so might have to update that. Maybe an inconsistency, don't know yet. Frost Rune, yeah, same thing as the Fire Rune. Fury, I think this one's just the same as Calm. Oh, this one's the even worse version of, okay, I remember this now. This used to be level 6 on all of these. Buffed that to level 9. Grand Healing, is this an expert level perk? Yeah, expert level perk. I buffed this greatly. For an expert level perk, and it's called, and for its namesake, I mean, this needs to be a pretty hefty healing spell, I think. So I left that the same, magic cost. Yep, again, buff the level. In case you're fighting like Draugr Death Lords and Draugr Overlords, stuff like that, you're going to want the spells to actually kind of work. And maybe only the strongest of the strongest Draugrs won't, run away. Yeah, this is it's a max level level, so buff that up greatly. I think it was 25 and I put it at 30. Healing, this is base game healing. I think I didn't buff this too hard. Whatever the base, I forgot the base value, but it's 14 now. Healing hands, I think this is also 14. Yeah, wanted to keep it on par with healing. Heal other, this one was like 100 points? No. Okay, it was a little bit lower. I think it was like 70. Buff that to 90. Ice Spike, very similar to Firebolt. I think it's going to be, 40. Right, change nothing else. Ice Storm, I think it's 60 damage, I think, because it's an Adept. Yeah, 60. So for these Adept level perks, Icy Spear, first Expert level Destruction, 90. You're going to see that across the board on all of these. Incinerate is going to be 90, right? That way we don't have to check Thunderbolt. Invisibility, all I changed here was I kept the same vanilla spell cost, but then doubled the duration. Iron Flesh, same thing with Ebony Flesh, right? I buffed it by 20 points accordance to the perk that I changed. That's it. Kept the same vanilla cost. Lightning Bolt, that one's going to be, We can look at Lightning Cloak too. Does 15. Let me guess. Magnitude is 15, yeah. Lightning Bolt, that one's also going to be 40. Guaranteed. Lightning Storm, this one I did buff. I don't know how much I did, but the magnitude is now 120, and I kept the same vanilla cost. Mayhem Master Level Frenzy perk, I think. Buffed that to 41. Can't remember what it used to be, but 41 is what I chose. I think this is because I was adding up all the perks in the Illusion skill tree because they were additive, and I wanted to make sure that it got up to like level 79 or level 81 or something like that. Just below the max. Oak Flesh. Same thing with all the others. Now, I know the game doesn't cap out at 81, but, yeah. Same thing with all the other illusion spells. Buffed the level, kept it matching up with the perk. Master of the Mind. Right, so in order to change the perk, Atronach, I had to change the absorb chance here, so that's what that is. I think base game was 30% or 25%, can't remember. So this is what I was talking about with Dark Souls. So the Dark Souls perk says it buffs things by 100 points. And that perk uses this effect, or this spell value. So I changed it to 400. But you can find this where it says perk Dark Souls, and then it will say another raise undead spell. Death Thrall, Revenant, and Reanimate Corpse. Or Dread Zombie as well, I think. And they all had different values for right here. It was like 75 or 50. I think Death Thrall was like 25 or 50. Revenant was 75. None of them were 100 like the perk said. I don't know why. So we'll see if this actually affects all Reanimate spell perks or not. This one's the Restoration skill tree. And this has to do with that perk that makes you regenerate magicka faster. So I changed it to 40, and then of course, like the perk says in the description, 75. Magic resistance, this is alteration skill tree, and it makes it to where your magic resistance goes up. It just straight up blocks magic. And it goes up to 15, 25, and then I think 40? If my memory serves me correctly. Yeah. Base game, I think it was like 10, 15, 25 or something like that. Or something kind of low. It was like 15, 25, and then 30. Raise Zombie, what did I change here? I think the level. It was level 6. So if it was from level, if the base game perk was level 6, I buffed it to level 9. If it was 9, I buffed it to level 11. Try to keep that same leveling scheme. Reanimate Corpse, right? Same thing here. Oh, what's this? Well, we're back. I did a bunch of looking and came back to the same consensus I came to when I created this mod, which is from the way the user info looks, according to the base game, all I needed to do was modify this right here and change it to 400. Because when you look at this, right, it says it has this right here, Dark Soul. Oh, surely you got to change that value in order accordance to the perk, right? Then you look at that effect, right? All these reanimate and undead perk or spells have a correlated effect, and they have a correlated bonus. None of their correlated effects and bonuses get used. They don't have a user count. See how this one, 4 users use Grand Healing? Yeah. These effects have none. The only ones that do are Zombie and Reanimate. And even then, the Reanimate bonus doesn't get used, but the effect does. And you can see the use of the effect right here, except it's not giving them any health, right? But if you look at the perk, Dark Souls, you can see that it selects the perk, it gets the bonus, and then it applies the bonus. The bonus being this right here. So from what I can tell, all you need to modify is this. May be wrong, but that's why I released it to public, so that way people can test. This is very similar to the Guardian Circle, just buff the level. That's it. I didn't change the magnitude of turn undead push. I didn't even change that. I just changed the magnitude here of, the level. Repel undead. Same thing, buffed it. Revenant, buffed the level of what it can be raised to, so 30. Rout, just like all other illusion spells, buffed it, and then the correlating Master of the Mind perk to the same equal value because in base game they're the same. Yada yada. I don't even know why I clicked on this. You knew it was going to be 16. Stone Flesh, just like all the others. I buffed it by 20, and then the perk that goes along with it. I'll just show you. I don't care. This video is going to be super long anyways. Who cares? See? 80. Used to be 60. Thunderbolt, we know that's 90. Turn Greater Undead. Don't know the base game value, but I buffed it for sure. All these perks I buffed. All of them. Every single one. 13. I think this might have been base game level 9. Who knows? No. Close that. Turn Undead. 18. Yeah. The push, I did not change the push at all. For some reason, it's 0. I don't know why. I think it's because it's aimed. It's not supposed to. I don't know. So Vampiric Drain. I think base, it was 2 points starting out. Then it increments up to, I think 15? Yeah, 15. So it used to go like 2 to 6 or 2 to 5. Because it's like 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's 5, I think 8, 10, and 15. This might be 12 though. 10. Okay. So I think it goes 5, 8, 10, 15. To really benefit getting at the top level. Wall of Flames. I think Wall of Flames, Frost, and Storms all have the same magnitude of 20. Used to be 8. Changed nothing else. Oh, well, a lot of these, if I buff this, I usually kept the same vanilla cost. Because otherwise, it's not much of a nerf. I mean, it is, but then it's like you have to be a pretty beefy mage with a pretty stacked magicka bar. Right, wards. I think this used to be 80, and I changed it to 100. And I'm hoping it's like defense based rather than percentage based like Dragonhide. Because otherwise, this negates 100% of damage coming in. I hope not. I really hope not. But we'll see. Same with this. I think lesser was like 40, so I buffed it to 60. Exactly correct. Steadfast Ward. We're nearing the end, people. 80 and 80. Right. So that goes through all of that, and there is nothing left. Finally done. Okay. That concludes the video. I'm done. That's everything. All the changes in the mod. I think in the overview video I went over the skill tree. There's a little tree. I'll show you the skill tree one last time. There. That's the change right there. There's an extra perk. Don't forget it. Yeah. There you go. You can see why I didn't want to put this in a giant description and type it all out. Because to type this all out and every last single change I did would be absurd. So there it is. there's the full in-depth description of every last change I did, including needless reasons why. I made those changes. So yeah, hope you enjoy the mod. Please let me know any feedback you got or suggestions. If you got suggestions, let me know. I do take suggestions into consideration when I change my mods, update them. If you got good ideas, I'm willing to hear. I don't always have the most amount of time. I try to be as responsive as I can. I try to check up on my mods daily to make sure they're doing all right. But yeah, if you have a good idea, propose it. And if it's good, it might make its way into the mod. If I can. I'm not the best modder, so if the suggestions you got are too complicated, I may not be able to do it. But yeah, thank you for even looking at the mod. If you downloaded it, thank you. Just please let me know any feedback you got. I'm wanting to make sure that this thing's actually a good mod, so I need people to test it out for me because I don't have a whole lot of time. I think that pretty much covers it.